Well, welcome everyone to the December koha-US monthly meeting, our last meeting of the year. Hope everyone is doing well. Do we have any announcements? Okay. So our first item is the officer election results and presentation of our new officers. So we had our election. And so first, Christopher will be moving into the role of president. So and he will be a great president. And then we had our election for vice president, which was between Bob, who is currently our member at large supported, and James Donaldson from Montgomery County. There were 32 total votes, Bob getting 20 and James 12. So Bob becomes our new vice president. So he'll be taking on a larger role, yay. And then we had the member at large supported position, which had 31 votes total. And we had Michael Adamic from Central Kansas Library System and Felicity Brown from Montgomery County. And Michael came in with 18 votes and Felicity with 13. So Michael will be our new member at large. So welcome, Michael. And then we had some write-ins for our treasurer, and we've had a vacant treasurer position for 3 years, I think. And so both of those people that their names were written in, they both agreed to run. We had 31 total votes, 17 for Georgette Rogers. And I forget, Georgette, which library you're from?
Liberty Lake Municipal.
I knew it started with an L. I just couldn't remember. So Georgette had 17 votes and James Donaldson from Montgomery County had 14 votes. At one point, they were neck and neck tied. And so all of our races really were competitive this year, which is great to see. So Georgette becomes our new treasurer, and she'll be working closely with John Sturbins. And John did tell me he will be a little late to our meeting today.
I just want to say 3 years vacant, and it only took somebody throwing someone else under the bus to get that position filled. So thank you, Georgette, for being willing to be a speed bump.
You're welcome. And thank you, Christopher, for that throw.
So welcome to all of our new officers who assume their roles at the end of the general meeting. And so you'll start to get knowing them better in the coming year. And I know they will all do a great job. So let's see. Okay, so our second item is the opening of the koha-US 2023 site location proposals. So we put that out at the beginning of the month. I checked it this morning and I have not seen any entries yet. So this would be a great opportunity for your library or someone else you know to convince them that their library needs to host the 2023 conference. That is open through the end of December, and I assume if we still don't have anyone that we might extend that, and we'll have the conference somewhere. You know, we may just descend on your library. We might just show up.
I think we default over to Jason's house if we don't get any proposals.
I have a tiny house, but a fairly large yard. We can set up tents or something.
So stay tuned for more on that. And then we have 2023 koha-US membership. I'm sure John could say a lot more about membership, but basically membership will be opening up again. Membership is calendar year based. John and Christopher have worked very hard at a new form that integrates with the website. And you have other things to say about that, Christopher?
Yeah, we've been working very hard to update the form so it integrates well with the website. It integrates with our new skill collaborators questionnaire. It will integrates with PayPal. So all of that is condensed and simplified for administration purposes, but hopefully it'll be a little bit more streamlined than previous years. But yeah, I expect after this meeting a new link to go up, and we also will scrub the skill collaborators list because we scrub that every year, so we get up-to-date information on who wants to contribute and be a part of that. And just a reminder, skill collaborators, we launched around the conference, but skill collaborators is basically, you have knowledge in these areas and you want to be available if somebody has questions about that. And so this lets us know who wants to participate and be available for questions and what areas you know about. And so we will refresh that with the membership going through this year. We'll get more feedback this time around because it's linked with membership. And as we get those filled out, once John has a good chunk of that to post, we'll scrub the old lists and post the new lists. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that works and seeing the input from those forms.
Any other questions about membership? You should become a member. You should convince your other fellow Koha people to become a member. It's a good thing. It's a good value. It doesn't cost much. Supports the organization. So
I would like to add, we've had our organization for a while now, and it's a users group, and it was mostly people that were behind the scenes making things work. But with the establishment of the SIGs, which you don't have to be a member to be part of the SIGs, but if you're part of it and want to contribute, this is a good way to give back. But we do want to encourage you, whether your fellow employees are members or not, to join those SIGs. We'd like them to be members. We'd like to be able to get more contributions towards the organization so that we can fuel the developments that we want to sponsor. So, I encourage you to not just have one person from your organization, the one that's doing the behind the scenes stuff, be a member, but encourage others to be members. There are several ways that they can contribute, and being a member gives you power in steering where the developments go and what kind of developments we're considering. So encourage your fellow employees. This is a good effort to be a part of.
I also see in the chat that Sunita asked if there was any certificate for participating in KohaCon 22. And we did send some of those out to people who asked, and we can send one to you, Sunita, so that you have that.
Heather said Koha-US Camping Con.
Yeah.
That's a big ask.
Let's see. So next is development proposals. So Christopher, you want to talk about that?
Sorry. Yes, so we are going to be opening up proposals, or actually we have opened up proposals again. And we have some responses. We don't have a huge pool, but that's okay. We have some proposals that that we're looking at. We've reached out we've looked at the proposals that have been submitted, and the development team or committee has vetted out, what doesn't apply, what needs more information, or, kind of doesn't go in the direction that we can support. So we are going to get ready to put those votes together, the voting form together for that. There are a few people we are reaching out to because some information needed to be expanded upon. We needed some quotes so that we had a better idea about what the project is going to entail. So we're reaching out to those people and making sure that all of that information is together, but we have a few proposals to throw into the mix for this next year. So we're going in a good direction, but remember that you can submit proposals at any time. The proposal form is open all year round, and we love suggestions. I would say that if you're going to submit a proposal, it's always a good idea to, don't throw a proposal that you have an idea for, but there is nothing out there for it. If at least establish a bug at the very least. I would, highly encourage people to get a quote, because if you don't have a quote at the time of the proposal, we're going to ask for your help in getting that quote before we put it out for a vote. So if you don't have a quote, we may leave it in the mix for next time around. It's a good idea, but we need more information before we can put it up for a vote. So the proposals that we have that we're holding on to, if we don't have a quote for it, it'll hang out in our good ideas, but not ready for a vote. And so if you don't see your proposal, that might be why. Those are the things that we encourage you to do to, kind of get it into a place where we can consider it. Other ideas about proposals: try not to make it so grandiose. If it is a brand new feature that could possibly take a lot of recoding, then it might be harder. If you're going for a proposal that's going to be in the tens of thousands of dollars to fund, that's going to be a hard one for us to get behind. We want to try and get something that's obtainable for us, but also significant to a lot of people. We've had some proposals that reached a very small niche, it affects very few people, and those are kind of the ones that we try to stay away from. We want something that most of our members, if not all, are going to be able to enjoy the fruits of. So think, more general. Think about, what can affect more people, and something that isn't like, oh, let's just recode the entire Koha code structure. We're not going to take on projects of that nature, but if you have ideas and you're not sure, you can always chat us up and ask, is this too big of an idea? We had some good ideas that we wanted to go back to people and say, hey, let's try a smaller chunk of this. Let's work towards this. This is a good idea, good direction, but let's attack it, this piece first, this piece first, this piece first. Doing something in that way gets you towards that goal. It might be a little bit slower, but it's more obtainable than trying to go for the whole enchilada at once. So now I'm hungry. Okay, that's it.
And by the way, our first koha-US funded development is in 2205. It's the account lines description. So that was our first successful development. So we want to do more.
Awesome.
So the next thing on here is 2023 budget discussion. We need John for that because I don't have all those details. So I know he will show up when he can, so we'll let him jump in.
I'll just sum it up. We have money and we're going to use some of it towards development.
There you
How
go.
about that?
If we need a kick in terms of providing quotes, just let me know if there's a bug number that you're not getting response on in terms of pricing, and I will make sure that you get it.
Great.
Thank you.
Let's see. So committee updates really on the conference committee. I've already said, we're looking for site locations, and I see there's been lots of discussion over here in the chat about that. Does anybody have any questions or anything else to say about conferencey stuff?
I will throw out that, if you've considered it, again, if you're just on the edge of, something, whether it's development or conferences or whatever, talk to us. We are available to answer questions, but, it might seem like a big task and a big ask to host a conference, but you do not have to be alone through it. We have a committee that really helps out. You're doing some of the legwork because you're doing the the local stuff, but our committees really work hard at helping each other in making sure that we have all the information that we need, and we'll ask the right questions to point you in the right direction if we need you to dig and find something for us. But I loved hosting our conference, and when the time comes, I might put us out there again. There's no reason we can't revisit a spot, but if you haven't hosted, consider it.
Do you have anything else to say about development in a committee update, Christopher?
Just that our current development that we've been working on is on a holding pattern at the moment. We've been exploring ways. We got stuck in a spot with our last developer that left us in a place where we couldn't use the code. It needs to be cleaned up. We have a quote from one company for what it would take to possibly just clean up what we have. We have a proposal from another company that wants to look at it and will possibly give us a quote, or maybe you want to take it in a slightly different direction. We're not sure yet, but we're waiting until after the next upgrade to Koha, so that they are available to look at it deeper. And we will get back to everybody after the new year, hopefully, with information on that, and we'll decide which way we can go. We may need to spend a little bit more on this project in order to complete it, because we are involving people's time, but it depends on who we go with and what offers are out there for this to finish up this development. We're excited for it. We want patrons to be able to get their messages and turn them off once they've received them, when we need to be able to see that kind of stuff. It's a good development, but we need to make sure that it's done the right way. The QA team wants it done the right way. We don't want to just hack code in there. So we're close. We're very close, but we have to wait for some things to fall in line before we can move on to the next step. So hang in there, but I'm excited. We will get this done.
Okay, next is an education committee update. I was not at that meeting, so was someone there?
I think I was there, but I can't tell you what we talked about.
Yeah, same here.
We were there in spirit. No. Yeah, I can say that we had focused on updating a form. That was one of our major tasks, was we were updating a form we're going to be sending out soon. I don't know what George's timeline on it is, but we have a form to send out to members to find out, kind of, are we going in the right direction with our education commitment for the organization? Are you getting the information? Are you getting the information that you need from koha-US? Do you like the things that we've produced? Do you like the things that we've curated? What could be better? Those types of things. So that's what we spent most of our last meeting on.
And I know I also did see through emails that Lauren Denny worked on a cataloging cheat sheet, and that is out there now. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's really great.
And
Yeah.
I am working towards getting a cheat sheet for notifications. That's a big one that needs some help. I'm working on notifications right now, and trying to tweak some things to get it to work the way I expect. And so, trying to come up with a good cheat sheet is interesting. So I'm hoping by next month I'll have that done. I have some other projects out of the way now, so I can focus on that. But yeah, we love putting together these reference sheets so that people can quickly look up what they need about these different things. So yeah, Lauren did a great job with hers, and we have a few others out there. So I'm hoping to add to that mix soon.
And I may have said something about doing a video on how to set up a match point for uploading to the catalog. And that's part of a project I'm going to tell you about when get to new business.
And I know that Christopher and George have changed up their intro and all of that on their terrific, every other terrific Thursday videos. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to. No, I saw the beginning part, but I haven't watched the actual video. So that's cool. They're giving a new face to it. So check that out. Everything else on here is basically we need John for, and he's not here yet. So why don't we just open it up? We can talk about bugs. We can talk about upgrades, any kind of issues. So
I have a question for Nate, if Nate is open to giving us some insight. I want to know how things are going. I guess the upgrades are starting or have started. How has that been going? I know that we have some early adopters, and have you had feedback about this new version that we're getting prepared for?
I haven't heard any negative feedback about the upgrades as of yet. We are doing it on a little bit of a faster rollout than we have in the past, because it just dragged on too long for, the feedback we got from partners and everybody else was like, it's gotta get tightened up. So we're trying to kind of abbreviate the rollout of that, so that everybody can get it faster. So, our systems team is high energy right now. But we haven't had any problems or negative feedback that I have heard so far. We're pretty early in.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll continue to update. I have a meeting that goes for, it's 11 to 12, so I can only really make this every week. So I can only really make this if it ends early. That's why I'm sporadically attending. But I'll make it a point during the upgrade season. I'll come in so that I can answer any questions and give you any feedback that comes through.
We love having you here.
I love being here.
Has anybody, I know that our test server had been upgraded. I've played around with that. I like a lot of what I see. Has anybody else been working with it and found anything that they've ran into early on? Has any of that been addressed?
We were an early adopter and we ran into some issues. I think most of them have been addressed. They weren't huge issues. And it's, it's been working fine. So yeah.
Yeah, I only really hear about the huge issues, but I'll find out more from the systems team going forward so that I'm more aware of all of the little quirks that come up.
One thing that I'm looking forward to, I had worked with Mark Thompson a while back on the early versions of this, and somebody else completed it, but the webcam integration with patron photos, that is something that I'm looking forward to, because if you ever wanted to in the past with Koha to be able to add a photo, you had to take a picture, save it somewhere, go find it and upload it, and then incorporate it into the patron account, where this feature will allow you to go into the patron account, click on something and take the picture straight from the webcam, which is really, really nice. It's going to make that so much more obtainable and easy to use than we've ever seen. And I'm looking forward to it. I did some early testing with it and found that there was a little bit of a hiccup with it, because the initial, you tried to take a picture, it gave an error. It's not consistent, and if you go back and you try again, it looks like you can do it. I've done it. You can take a picture, but it's not 100%. I'm hoping that will get patched so that whatever's hanging that up on that initial picture take can get corrected. But it is exciting to see that happen, because that was a feature that we couldn't really embrace and take advantage of, and it would be nice to have those pictures.
Yeah, volume level holds is a big one. Starting of the ERM is huge for the academic sector. We were excited to see that get in. I think that's a necessary integrated component with this system, and people shouldn't have to use standalones. So that's exciting. It's not there yet, but it's a good start. So. Are there any specific concerns regarding upgrades that I can bring back to the team?
I do know that there was a question out on Slack. Somebody was asking about the time frame on the upgrade that's posted on our Koha sites and then in the news panel. It gives a specific time, and they were wondering, is that the library's time zone or your guys' time zone?
I would assume it would be the libraries. If it's not, I gotta fix that. I'll check into that.
Yeah, when you're dealing with an organization that spans all of the US, it would be helpful to know that. I've always assumed that it's our time, but
it better be. It's kind of where I'm at. Oh no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, kind of. I mean, I'm sure it is, but I'll double check that for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, because that wouldn't be helpful to anyone if it's not.
Yeah. Oh, I see John.
There is John.
I asked for 1 minute to get myself out of teaching mode and into finance mode. I'll be ready in just a second.
Sure.
Any other comments about the upgrades?
There are the Bywater webinars that they had, which were recorded, and I'm not sure if they're up yet, but I know they're going to be posted, if they aren't already posted soon, And then there's a Q&A session happening in January, I think. So lots of different resources out there.
Yes. And if you have ideas for additional, let me know, or us know.
I do have a
Elise-
question about
Elise
the,
just posted in the chat that those webinar recordings are up, so I put that in the chat.
Great,
Just
thank
like-
you.
Sorry, Fred, go ahead.
yes, I'm about to do a complete revision of the MedStar Authors Catalog, which I sort of cobbled together back in the days when I didn't know what I was doing. Is 2211 stable and bug-free enough that it would be safe for someone who has learned a lot but still doesn't know everything to rebuild on? Or should I go with old stable?
Are you asking me?
Uh,
I can find out, but I can't really speak to that intelligently.
Okay, let me put it a slightly different way. If someone is setting up a brand new Koha library, do you recommend 2205 or 11?
We always run 6 months behind, so
Okay.
that's how we operate, just because of the scale. You know, it's just safer. So that's how we roll. But
Okay.
Brett, I think the biggest issue is, 2205 has been out there a while and has had more opportunity to get fixes, where 2211 is so brand spanking new. People are still finding things with it. So, getting on the most current version, it passes QA, but there are things that slip by, and 2205, it's more likely to have some of those things that are addressed. So staying a version behind it, I think that's pretty much why Bywater and other companies have chosen to give that space, because they want their customers to have something that has been through the rigors and has been fixed and updated and taken care of, where 2211 is just so brand spanking new that that takes a little more time to address those things.
Yeah, and
that was
we're all
my-
on it, Fred. We're all on it.
Ah,
So
good point.
that might be a reason to stick with 2205.
The other thing I was considering, I'm going to have to do some tweaking for the OPAC display, and that will give me an extra 6 months to keep it. I think your advice outweighs that option. Thank you.
As somebody that ran an unsupported site myself, the only reason I ever put a new version on any earlier than 4 or 5 months was if it absolutely positively had something that I know I needed. And even then, I would have set up a whole different server first, restore my data on it, and see if it worked the way I wanted it to before I even put it into production.
That's why I only practice on backup copies. Actually, scratch monkey copies.
Well, so now that John is here, welcome, John.
Thank you.
So we skipped our 2023 budget discussion and budget narrative and finance monthly report, all the stuff that pertains to you. And we switched up the schedule to talk about a few other things, but if you want to cover those, we are ready.
Okay, let's talk about the Finance Committee report first. Our membership count as of the end of November is 56, and unless I get some random check-in between now and the end of the year, which is possible, though not really likely, 56 should be our final membership count for the year. With all of the accounting for the conference done and the last bit of money that we were putting aside, I kept aside very purposely in PayPal to pay for anything. The November end of month balance, the preliminary one of 13,000 and change, is roughly where our account finances stand, with all of that now taken into account. There is a detailed accounting for the conference. Net income, which is our contributions minus the PayPal service fees, Net income for donations was 7203.92. Total expenses, which is everything except the PayPal service fees, was 5566.58. Taking expenses out of net income, we have a remaining balance that will be going right back to the Koha community generally of $1,637.34. It was my recommendation to the board at our board meeting last week that we allocate this money and supplement it with some amount to be determined by the membership and put all of that towards a development. So that way, which was always the stated goal. Any leftover money from the donations was not earmarked for koha-US, it was earmarked for the community and funding a development, supplementing it with some of our own discretionary funds is going to be the best way to do that. We'll talk about the budget in just a little bit. It is my pleasure as the chair of the Finance Committee to welcome Georgette in her new role as treasurer, which she will be taking over. I look forward to working with Georgette very much. Georgette and I had breakfast together several days when we were in Lawrence, and I'm very confident Georgette will do an outstanding job as the organization's treasurer. It's the first time we've actually had this type of transition within the organization. When I took it over from Robin, I just got a folder and she said, "Thank God this is your mess now." Things are a lot different. They're a lot more organized, and my predecessor didn't even do anything. And that wasn't Robin, it was somebody else. He shall remain nameless, but if you've been around the organization long enough, you know who it is. So I ask for your patience while Georgette and I work the details out. The bylaws tell us who's supposed to do what, but we've got to get things like the Google accounts and all of that straightened up. So I'll be working with somebody, I think it's actually Jennifer is the secretary, and Christopher to get all sorts of things Google straightened out. I'm going to be getting a new email address. Treasurer is going to go over to Georgette. And while we get all of this straightened out, both Georgette and I think I can fairly speak for her here by saying we appreciate your patience as we get all of this taken care of and as we start to work together. So as my last meeting as the Finance Committee chair, this is something Georgette will get to take over. It's been great being able to do this. And of course, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still your financial manager, and I'll be working very closely with Georgette on that. 2023 membership renewal invitations will be going out at the conclusion of this meeting. If you are a 2022 member in good standing, you'll get a renewal invitation. My extreme thanks to Christopher and all of the work that he's done to help integrate things a little bit more tightly with WordPress. We're not using Google Forms anymore. We'll actually be using a Forminator form within WordPress. And something brand new for us, the Forminator word form will link directly to PayPal. And you have the option of paying immediately through PayPal with an option that is available in the renewal form. So consider membership for 2023 officially open. One thing I will request Christopher do if he has not yet done it, and I'm going to actually look right now. If Christopher, if you have not taken the link under join.
I'm working on it right now.
Christopher's taking care of the last thing that needs to be taken care of. Right now, if you were to go to join, you'd get taken to the closed 2022 form. He's fixing it right now. If you use the link in your membership renewal, you don't have to worry about any of that. Everything is already all set. The dues are set in the bylaws. The dues remain the same. If you join right now, it would be $25, and all memberships do not auto renew. They automatically expire, and they are $25 for the full year. So renewal invitations coming out shortly. We hope you will consider rejoining us if you were a 2022 member, or joining us if you were not a member in 2022. We look forward to having you. For the record, we already have 9 2023 members. The folks at Montgomery County actually paid for the rest of 2022 and all of 2023. And in testing Christopher and I did, I already renewed my 2023 membership to make sure the PayPal thing worked as we expected it to. So we're already off to a very good start for 2023. Before I switch over to the budget for 2023, I'd like to see if there are any questions about the Finance Committee report.
Are there any thoughts about offering the option for an auto renew?
I've
'Cause that would
thought
touch
about
all
it,
over
but
that.
it's,
Charge me every year.
we know what happens with auto renew. Everybody says, oh, hell, I forgot to cancel this.
Right.
And auto renew also then kind of implies that we have the ability to just take your money, and that's not true either. Because while the membership might auto renew, the payment for it would not. And
Got
it just be, at least administratively, when we were setting all of this up a few years ago, it just became easier to, number one, set everything to the calendar year. So we didn't always have this churn and processing of member renewals. And it also just seemed easier to say, you know, you're good for the year. You have to rejoin every year if you want to keep on joining because of the payment. Thank you, Nate, for the question. And let me open my budget now. The board got to hear the budget in all of its grotesque detail last week. Everybody else will go running and screaming if I start to do that here. So let me give you the highlights instead. Overall, our budget reflects from 2022 to 23 a decrease of about 14%. The budget as currently set for membership year 2023 has a total income of $4,025. This includes membership, income related to the annual koha-US conference, as well as donations. The membership count does assume a relatively flat level of membership. It assumes 80% renewal of existing members, and it also assumes an increase of about 10 people. Some people join as a result of the annual conference because it becomes cheaper to join and register for the conference as a member than it does to just pay the non-member. And that was all done by design, our wicked evil plan to get members, and it usually works. So there are plans, of course, for that. The conference income reflects the same pricing model that we've had for the past, but the very big assumption with that is the same assumption that we always make about our conference, and that is that we don't have to pay facility space, AV space, or AV for that space, or special catering for that space. If you've taken a look at the Finance Committee report for this month, you'll see we paid $2,200 for food and beverage service at Maselli's. That was for 2 days. $2,200 for 2 days. The total cost of the rest of our food and beverage at Lawrence Public was $244. That's why we're able to keep registration cheap, because we've been able thus far, when we're having just a koha-US conference, to avoid all of the very expensive trappings that hosting at a formal convention facility bears. We're expecting a slight decrease in donations. Our Amazon Smile funding has slowly been decreasing. I expect that trend to continue, and I also expect to see perhaps a slight decrease in donations. I do note, however, that our donation income does not include the Spring into Fitness event that we've been able to provide the past 2 years through the generosity of Bywater Solutions. That was not a koha-US generated stream. That's why that is not part of the income. And let's see, anything else? Most of the expenses represent or reflect a 7.5% increase in cost due to inflation. Some of these figures do not include that. For example, the PayPal service fees do not reflect that because that fee structure has not changed since 2021. Some fees like the compliance fee that we paid with the state of Kansas, I already know that's going to be $40. That hasn't changed. But if it's a general expense, the increase for that will be reflected in expenses. Despite the drop in income, we do expect to see an increase in the amount donated to the discretionary funds. Most of that is because we're not paying to go to ALA next year. We had earmarked $800 from the current fiscal year budget to pay for things like insurance and supplies for the conference. Since we're not going to any conference this year, that freed up $800 for that. We also did drop the amount dedicated to fundraising from 300 down to 200 because we currently do not have a fundraising chair, and the fundraising committee has not really done anything since Todd left that position a while ago. So despite the overall contraction of about 15%, if everything holds like we hope to, we will actually see a slight increase towards the organization's discretionary funds. There are no earmarked expenses for the discretionary funds. That's all subject to membership approval. The $1,200 that came from discretionary funds this year wasn't really that use. That was the application of the ALA exhibition space that we paid in 2020, had refunded in 2021, and then finally was able to apply to 2022. The full budget is available for everybody's review. If Jennifer has not posted it, I will request that she post that to the webpage and you can take a look and feel free to shoot me questions. Right now, everything still says, ask me at treasurer@koha-US.org. We'll have a new address for that soon and we'll make changes as need be. And Georgette will forward me anything that she doesn't know how to answer, which might be a bit yet until she gets her feet wet with everything that the organization does. That's it from the Finance Committee. That's it for the 2023 budget. And for membership, I welcome any questions anybody has.
The membership form is live and the link is in the chat.
Excellent. Your renewal forms will be coming after this meeting. They're all set and ready to go. All I got to do is click on the little pencil, not the pencil, the little play symbol and autocrat, and 47 membership renewals will be going out.
Excellent. Well, we have about 10 minutes left if we want to continue our open discussion. Any topics, any questions, just whatever you want.
Yeah, got the one I threatened with you with earlier. Is the Midstar Authors Catalog, where I took National Library of Medicine citations, converted it to MARC, and put it in Koha. And I did this around 2016 when I didn't know what I was doing. I know a little more now. I've hung out with catalogers enough, so I have a better idea of what I want to put in there. And I suspect I am going to be asking for help. One thing that the really tricky thing last time was tweaking the XSLT files so I could display, let's say, the 857 and 858 fields. I know there aren't any other. They're not real, but they are in my catalog. And yeah, I've listened to Jesse and Lucas talk about redesigning the OPAC, but I don't think that's quite what I'm looking for. If I want to put something that really doesn't exist except in my catalog on the OPAC, apart from tweaking the XSLT, there a better way?
You can use the APIs of jQuery. I'm not sure. I've only ever done it with like indexed fields, so I don't know like if there's an 858, if you could pull it that way, but I think so because it's just pulling from the MARC XML. I have that working for series in my catalog, so I can send you the code of how I did it, and you can play with it.
Yeah, does this mean I really need to learn jQuery? Probably.
Maybe it's more of just like it'll be changing fields and stuff within. Yeah, I'll put it on the wiki too.
Yeah, I think I got Koha to index a couple of new fields, like the 097A, which no, doesn't exist. Sorry, Heather. Oh, by the way, I'm going to change the 100s to 700s, so you and Lauren will can stop clutching your pearls. Yeah, I can see you're relieved. I need, it needs to be standard mark exactly, but
And I
right,
think the
since
reason I never shared it on the wiki is because I think there's still some issues with it, but it was mostly adapted from something Lucas did. So he's got a blog post about it too, using the Biblio API point.
I also, oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's I think my problem is like I'm trying to use the 490V and the 440V and like reconcile if it's there or not. And so like sometimes it gives me weird results. So if you're not competing, like trying to compete one field with two different fields, it might work better for you. But yeah, I'll get it posted and I will share that with you.
Also, I think I got set up. I think I said got Koha to index some fields that were completely new. Is there documentation for that, or do I need to write it?
For what?
Getting Koha to index, let's say the 097A field, so you can search on it.
Looks like there is a wiki page on how to add a new zebra index.
Oh, all right.
Are you doing Zebra or Elasticsearch?
That's another question. Are there advantages to Elasticsearch that would make learning how to install it and use it necessary or very useful?
I like Elasticsearch. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Yeah, we switched over to Elasticsearch. There's no turning back. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Definitely speed enhancements and more flexibility with searching and indexing.
Okay. It's getting bigger than I thought. I'm gonna have to learn stuff.
I will say there's one aspect of searching, and I don't have the bug at the top of my mind right now, but there's a bug I was actually in a discussion with yesterday about, and Katrine was involved. I think it was Katrine, might be somebody else, about searching with Booleans. And, you know, I've been noticing that Booleans have been getting in the way of some searches. You know, patrons know very little about Booleans. I mean, they might, you know, some savvy Google users might remember Booleans when they first started incorporating that into Google. Google has improved and in ways that it doesn't get in the way as much. But when you're searching in Koha and you throw a Boolean in your search, that can interfere and you don't get results that you expect. And I'm hoping, you know, this discussion on the bug will generate enough interest that we can change the direction in that a little bit. It would be nice if, you know, because, you know, there are suggestions, oh, well, you can get around the Boolean just by putting quotes around things. Well, the general population doesn't know that. You know, I look at searching from the patron aspect, and not just every patron or the smartest patron, but, you know, the general populace. They don't know throwing quotes around something is going to change things. They don't know that throwing the word and or not in there is going to throw off your search. There's nothing to indicate that, and they'll have no clue, and they won't find what they want, and they'll go on and look somewhere else and do something else. And that's not what we want. You know, the Boolean, you know, the Boolean is incorporated into the advanced search with the user interface. That is nice, that's where it should be left, in my opinion, not in the general searches. So, you know, I'm hoping that down the road, this can be tweaked in a way that either it's more evident, you know, with the search results that is saying, oh, we're doing this, you may get more results if you do this or something of that nature. But right now, you know, it's a mystery what you're going to get when you just do a general search if you don't know about Booleans and about quotes. So that's my beef. Sorry, I'll get off my soapbox here.
We've got 2 minutes.
I'm looking forward to password expirations. That'll be nice. Oh, I have a general question. So, you know, because we're such a chatty group here. I have a question about the upcoming upgrade. One of the things in the webinar, Bywater's webinar, talked about quick labels, and I may have missed this, and I need to go back and look at the recording, but they talked about quick labels can now be edited. Is that true with the Heather's excited. Is that true with the regular labels as well, or is it just limited to the quick labels? Heather, you might know.
I have to admit that I really don't care if it's in the label batch because I want to just use quick labels because the label batch is like click, 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 whereas a quick label is click, click. And then if I could just, you know, add what I need to add or something really fast and hit print, then my world will be rocked and I need never go to label batch again for spine labels.
There is a plugin that will let you edit label batches. I tried it. I've never gotten it to work.
I haven't played with it yet, but one of my long-term goals is to get our name on a barcode label batch or, you know, print barcode range. And I know there's an enhancement coming that you could put an image on that, but that's a separate thing.
You can get them from Demco.
Oh, yeah, with money?
Yeah, money.
I've heard
I
of this
can't-
exchanging money for goods and services thing.
I can't remember how much our last batch cost. They'll probably last until I'm dead. But it was in the 2 figures.
Well, we're
Maybe.
at the top of the hour. So,
We are at the top,
well, the top of the hour of
the top of the half.
hour that, because it started at 10:30. So that's the top. Anyway, so I would like to just take this chance to thank my fellow board members for all of their support, their hard work, their patience, their guidance as we went through this year. And I would like to thank all of the koha-US people that are out there for being involved and asking questions and having good ideas and working together. I think this is a really great group. And you have a great group of officers that will take you through the upcoming year. So happy holidays to everyone and see you next year.
Barbara,
Just
thank you
quick
so
labels,
much for all that
Christopher.
you have done.
Yes. Barbara, you're awesome.
It
Thank
was a
you.
great experience.
Christopher, it's just the quick labels.
Okay.
Sorry. Happy holidays, everybody. You're awesome.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
And I guess
Bye-bye.
we're going to have a very short conference. Just we need to talk about 1 or 2 things. So if you're on the conference committee, hang on for just a second.